Hey Collective, it's Al and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be kind of just a quick little aside. It's kind of like an important message for the Collective towards the end, but I need to set it up just for a second so that you understand the context of it. So it has to do with how I always understand the divine universe and God particularly to have a sense of humor, and here's what I mean by it. So the bicho was at the bicho watching hoggos run by, as you do when you're celibatia, and I'm minding my own business, and suddenly it was like a big switch went over on me, and I suddenly was like, what just happened? And I got like this really strange moment where this guy started to like kind of circle me like as a shark would, and I was like, oh, here it comes. Not literally, but you get my point. But I could tell that he was like cruising me, and so I was like, oh, all right, it's kind of flattering. So literally as I'm looking at him, another guy walks right in front of me and bends right over to stretch, and I'm like, oh, that's a fucking stretch, all right. And I'm staring at him, and I start to giggle to myself because now I got this one over here who's kind of like eyeing me and a little jealous, and I'm looking at the one in front of me who's bent over so in my face that, you know, I could see how old he was. You know what I mean? Like I could count the rings around the hole. And so I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, should I be a dog and like, you know, be like, you know, most guys would be like, and you know. And then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, no, that's not really my thing. And so then he turns, and now he's facing me. And and other guy's now like literally right like next to me. He's like right here, and I'm on the bench. And I'm trying not to giggle. I'm listening to my headphones, and this little cock stroke thingy is happening in front of me. And I'm starting to laugh. And so the guy that was bent over in front of me stretching, which, trust me, wouldn't be that much of a stretch, you know. Anyway, so he turns around and faces me, and then he starts doing his lunges. But he's like almost like in front of me, and I'm watching, you know what, and it's like right in my face, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I swear to you, I just started giggling even harder because I could swear that my inner like child was just like laughing, and I was like, what is this orchestrated? Am I being punked? And I realized Ashton Kutcher's off doing his own thing and being, you know, an ascendant tycoon man, but I thought I was on punked, right? And so I kid you not, so just as I think this is ridiculous enough, a song that I had never heard before comes onto my iPod playlist that God must have been DJing, and it was, I can't remember the name of the song, but it's something about house something. Anyway, so it was like a very gay song, and as I'm listening to the song, I'm like, nobody's this gay. So between the cock in front of me, the cock to the side of me, I start to actually, by the end of the song, I'm jamming to it, and now I'm like really into it, right? And I'm like enjoying the environment for a minute, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, forgetting that I used to be a hoe. And so now that it was kind of circling back around, I was like, ooh. So I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at this happen, and towards the end of the song, the gay man that I thought I wasn't came out, and I was like, ooh, snapping, and I was like just jamming. And I kid you not, just to end like with an exclamation point, like the period wasn't already kind of a full sentence in what the divine was trying to tell me. All of a sudden, this other guy comes by, and so he sees the one who's now, I think he's like on the ground doing push-ups, but like it looks like more like he's thrusting his dick into the ground. And the guy next to me finally, he's exacerbated, so he like walks off, and so I'm like, I guess he's doing a one-hand motion in the bathroom, but you know, I can't do everybody. And so I'm looking at this one, and I didn't do anybody, by the way, but it's, you know, the expression. So he's now doing that little thing with his butt, and he's kind of like, you know, thrusting into it. I'm just like, does this turn people on? And then the guy that was walking towards me winks at me, and then comes and sits next to me. And I'm like, alright, you funny. You really fucking funny. And all of a sudden, I realized I was in heat. All of a sudden I had this mental image picture of Sandra Bullock in the movie Practical Magic, where she's running down the street when the spell is cast, and that all the dogs are chasing her because she's in heat. I must have been fucking Sandra Bullock in the moment. And so I started laughing, and I was like, oh, I guess we're back to normal life. So the message to all of you in YouTube land, and all of you who are on my vibration, just know that apparently the celibatia part is ending. So either I have now connected with someone energetically, and we're about to go bow chicka bow wow in a very, very sexy way, or I was back. I'm kind of hoping that it's kind of all of the above. But I thought it was a really enjoyable moment of why I always think that the universe has a better sense of humor than we do sometimes. Because as I'm watching this, there's like all these people behind, you know, it's the beach. And so there's people like doing like aerobics and stuff like that, but they're doing like these music videos where they're like showing at their choreography, and it's like a group of them. And so I'm literally surrounded by a bunch of dick, and I'm just looking at it going, but I'm celibate. And then by the end of this little experience, I went, oh, I guess I'm not going to be anymore. And so I might have to start dating. But then the next song that came on was a dance club, and it made me laugh. Sorry, I just got in from from the bitch show. And so it made me start laughing because it was a club song that I remember from back in the day. And I was like, Jesus, I really want to go clubbing again. I'm like, fuck, we're not dead yet. Is anybody going to open a fucking bar so we can go out and, don't drink anymore, but I'm going to go dancing. And, now that I'm not celibate, I guess, I can start dating again. So I was like, well, where the fuck am I going to go? So I guess the message in the long run here is that we do need to get back to life at some point, because these STDs aren't growing on their own. Like, people are still fornicating. It's California fucking cation out here. So if they're doing that, then I'm assuming that people have already started to begin their lives. So why don't we actually focus our energy on living those wonderful experiences that we used to have and kind of come back from the dead? Because we're all walking around like eunuchs, all like, I can't talk to anybody, I can't blah 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 blah. And now that they've spayed and neutered the entire population, I was like, well, whatever they want to do. Like, if people want to be that silly and go ahead and do that, then go right ahead. And so I just thought about how funny that was, that it was like a full circle moment, because I was thinking what the message was for the whole video, which is the end point here, is collective. Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets. Yeah, I'm not the only thing in heat now, you know what I mean? And so I thought that was a really funny moment for you. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go back to my book by Carl Sagan on billions and billions. Something about, I ended on a page where he's talking about, I think it was like population control or something like that. And it was really kind of interesting. So I'm going to go back and do that. But for you guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend and get out there and start enjoying your life. I mean, for Pete's sake, you're not dead. We're still alive. Go live. And I guess I'm dating because I'm in heat.